CrackBerry.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to podcast 092 for Friday, February 15th, 2013.
Hey everybody, Kevin here for CrackBerry.com. It is Z10 time. You can see it on my t-shirt. We've got a great show lined up for you today, so stop what you're doing, get a drink, sit back, and listen to Adam Zeiss.
Greetings.
Simon Sage.
Hi.
And Blaze.
Hello.
It's going to be a fun one today. I am still in the Toronto CrackBerry headquarters, as is Blaze. Adam is back in New Jersey, and Simon is home in Ottawa. I now have this fancy microphone for the first time in my life. I've never had one of these hanging in my face before, so I feel like a true professional, so I'm going to keep talking like I got a radio voice the entire time. But no, seriously, we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, the Z10, the Z10 is hitting the market around the world, just not in the United States of America. So anything we publish on CrackBerry.com for the last 3 weeks gets met with about 50 replies saying, quit rubbing it in, guys. I just want a Z10 in America. You have so many of them. So I feel bad. Hopefully it gets everywhere soon. In the meantime, I think we all have one, right? So we can hold them up and wave them to our cameras. Mine's white.
Mine's not.
White feels so right in this phone for me. There we go. We're all waving them around. Things to talk about. Adam, I don't have that agenda you put together, so where do we start?
Well, originally I think we were just going to start with a little bit of our backstory and how we all camped out in Toronto and leading up to the launch event and stuff like that.
Lead it away.
Well, a couple months ago, Kevin told me Chris and I were going to have to go to Winnipeg to do some stuff leading up to the Z10 launch or BlackBerry 10 launch. And then over the course of things, it kind of morphed into this big plan to get a condo in Toronto, which I didn't think anything of because Kevin has grand schemes all the time that never really pan out. So when he told me that it was indeed happening and he had booked a house for like a month, I was very surprised. But long story short, we all ended up in Toronto, I think probably almost a full month ago. I think it was like the 20th of January or something like that. So we got our review unit and kind of worked hardcore for quite a few days, 22 hours a day, leading up to the launch event. And then Blaze and Kevin and I all flew to New York to attend the BlackBerry 10 launch event there. Simon stayed in Toronto with Chris, Yumi, and Zach, and then they went to the fan event there. We all went to New York. So it was just it was a big plan, and there were a hectic couple days in between, and then Chris and Kevin flew back to Toronto where they still are. I flew home. Simon went home a couple days ago, and we're still going hardcore. That about sums it up.
The site's been ridiculous. I mean, I said in an editor's desk post, I think 2 weeks ago, it was the second coming of, CrackBerry. But it's beyond the second coming of CrackBerry because I don't think we've ever done anything like this before, ever. I mean, the volume of articles we're putting out on the homepage is ridiculously awesome. And good quality, too, not just volume, right? We've been doing a lot of stuff. I mean, it's not just a new phone, right? It's an entirely new platform, which means, writing up every tip and trick and setup and how-to article. And I'm just so proud of everybody. You guys have been working so hard. I just makes me sad, like so excited. I got tears, but no, it's been fun. What's really sad is that we're all going to be going home. I kind of like having everybody in one office together. So
It's kind of depressing now that we're actually like packing and getting ready to leave.
I've got Blaze sitting right across from me, so we're sharing one microphone. So I'm going to be swinging this baby back and forth the whole time. But
probably won't be swinging it too often.
Don't swing it too often. Woo 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 woo. No, as you can tell, I'm hyper. It's like the good old crack. Well, I don't know if it's good old, but crazy freaking CrackBerry Kevin is back, and he's got a t-shirt.
Kevin, before we get too much further, I do have to say your hair looks fantastic.
Thanks, Adam. I think it looks kind of short.
I think it looks great.
If anybody missed the story at the New York launch event, BlackBerry chopped my ponytail off because, as many of you may or may not know, I was growing my hair out waiting for BlackBerry 10. Not quite a year, but probably close to a year I grew it out. I had a couple of, I had some highlights put in the summer, and I got the tips cleaned up for Christmas just a little bit, so I wasn't too, shaggy for family events and business parties. But yeah, the ponytail got chopped off on the 30th. And only yesterday, February 15th, did I actually get the rest of it cleaned up. So I've been going around the last couple of weeks with really long hair in the front, and just it was cut up horribly short in the back. Because when they chopped it off, they didn't just chop off the ponytail. It was like all the way up and scissors across the side. And of course, I never really look at the back of my head in a mirror, so I didn't think it was that horrible. But everybody else was laughing at me behind my back, literally. So
I was ashamed to go out with them.
Blaze was ashamed to go out with me. It was rude, you know. I didn't think it was that bad. But yesterday for Valentine's Day, we actually drove out to Waterloo. Blaze and I and our partner in crime here, Jay Hum, our bodyguard and entertainment and stuff. And I didn't leave Waterloo without getting a haircut. And I went to the same place where Jeff Gadway goes to get his haircut. And we've all seen him in lots of BlackBerry product marketing videos and things. So props to Eye Candy, because they didn't even charge for the haircut. I went to pay for it, and they're like, no, it's on the house. So we were going for a split between the Bradley Cooper and the hot guy from True Blood, LC, like the werewolf. So I don't know if we pulled it off. It's a little short for my liking, but I think maybe in like 2 months it'll grow out really, really nice. So just got to deal with it. Adam, back to you.
So we have an exciting new CrackBerry redesign coming up shortly.
That we do. So we've already pushed out the CrackBerry 10 app, or CB10 as we're calling it, into BlackBerry world. It's literally the best app in BlackBerry world in terms of, like, it's just freaking built really well. Marcus Adelson, our Mobile Nation's CEO, coded it himself. So one man in a month, basically, who's a genius, just coded the heck out of it. And it's like literally just amazing, right? It's the example of how every BB10 app should be built. But next up is the full website design. So we've been working on that behind the scenes at the same time, and it's getting there. I really want to push live this week so it's live by Sunday, but I think we're going to probably push live closer to next weekend. I just want to make sure we work out, all the bugs and stuff. So there's still going to be bugs no matter what, but we're going to take an extra week to really massage it and manicure it and make it as good as possible. So somebody in the chat room here, Andy for Life, says I'm being a microphone hog. Obviously, he's never watched a podcast before, because really it's the CrackBerry Kevin podcast with everybody else. But I'm going to shut up now and let Adam continue.
Well, did you want to talk any more about the app or anything? Are we done with that?
I think if anybody owns a Z10, you must go download it.
Try it. It's the best way and fastest way to browse CrackBerry ever. It's ridiculously fast. It's getting some new updates soon, so. Well, since we're all about, is Chris talking? I can't hear him because you didn't slide the microphone. I'm sorry.
Dual stereo right now, and it's rather weird.
Did you hear any of that?
I heard the end of it. Yeah, you said you're weird, and that was it.
Yeah.
I'll repeat it. He said, I'm weird at the end, but he said, you think he's loud and hogs the mic here, you should live with him in the same place for a month, because it's pretty much all you hear. So,
fair enough.
It's all good. But no, exciting things on the CrackBerry front. We actually did a big forums reorganization earlier this week. So if you jump over to forums.crackberry.com, you'll see everything is tightened up a lot. So James and I pulled a late night on that one. Forum organization is always like a compromise, because no matter what, it's really hard to get everything in the right place, because you put it one place because it makes sense there, but then it's too far to navigate here. But we really, really thought out that forum reorg. We're seeing in the chat room comments right now that people love it. And yeah, we grouped it together very logically. So, because the problem with the forums going back to literally 2006 when we started working on them was there was only a BlackBerry OS platform. That was it. So we built out the entire forums around the one platform. And then the playbook hit, and we were like, now some stuff applies, some stuff doesn't apply. So, something like the BlackBerry apps section, well, not all apps are for every BlackBerry now. So you get all this fragmentation happening. But we knew BlackBerry 10 was coming, so we were like, let's just wait and see what happens. But now it's really condensed. We broke it up so it's very modular. So the BlackBerry 10 section really has basically all the BB10 stuff. Then there's a playbook section, a BBOS section, which we compressed down a lot. and then we have some, forums that go for all the sites. But use the forums. Go visit if you haven't in a while, because they're really good and they are just on fire now. We have so much content and users in there right now. I'm going to just talk to the chat room here. Somebody says the BlackBerry 10 Hub should be above CrackBerry Community on the forums homepage. So, AVPTI, yes and no. From a pure demand standpoint right now, yes, it would make sense. But if you visit all of our Mobile Nation sites, we actually have the community section at the top of all of them. So it's there for consistency. And also, we want to get used a lot because the community part is really important to CrackBerry. And the hub's right there. It's super high up the page. So I don't think it's an issue, but good feedback. And keep your feedback coming in the forums. We do have threads on that.
Oh, man. So, I guess.
Well, wait. The comment says, makes sense, you win. See, the logic. All we do is we go with logic. Logic always pays out, or pays off, or works.
Even Kevin's logic, even when it's illogical, it's still logic, and it still counts. So, I don't know, flashback to 2 weeks ago, January 30th. We set foot in New York. We were in a hotel. We got up bright and early and went down to the pier for the BlackBerry experience and the unveiling of BlackBerry 10, which we'd waited months and months and months for. And I mean, it was a pretty huge event overall, I think, because there were pretty much, we kind of look forward to going to conferences and things like that, and things like CES and Mobile World Congress, because we get to see all the geeks that we work with in cyberspace. And we went in there, and it was just, anybody and everybody who does anything in tech was there, and it was just tons and tons of people. And we got pulled in. We got some good seats because Kevin was getting his hair cut on camera, which was pre-planned in case anybody didn't know. So we got some good seats there. And, they went through the whole announcement. They announced the Q10, which didn't turn out to be the X10 like we thought it was going to be, or didn't think it was going to be. The Z10 and the rebranding to just BlackBerry from RIM, and Alicia Keys as their global creative director. So we got all kinds of fun announcements, and then the Z10 extravaganza began. We had our review posted, our BlackBerry 10 review, and endless help and how-to articles, and that kind of brings us up to date. So we're all, I guess, about 2 weeks in with the Z10. So Simon, how are you faring so far? Are you down to one device like the rest of us, or?
Oh yeah. I pretty much switched to one device as soon as I got it. It was a pretty easy switch. I'm digging it. I think for me, the biggest thing is the keyboard. It's interesting the way they've got the swiping prediction thing set up. But I'm still kind of holding out for the Q10. That's kind of more familiar territory for most of us, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have some issues on the keyboard. I love the keyboard overall. I've never been a huge fan of virtual keyboards, but this one by far, because as many times as my thumb screw up when I'm typing, I hit the space bar and it corrects most of it. But part of it is that I use a lot of random terms that don't belong in any dictionary, so that, I had to add them to kind of get them adjusted. But I'm definitely looking forward to the Q10 too, because I do miss the keyboard. But, like I put in one of my posts, I think it was the switching post yesterday, that, Kevin, Chris, and I, and I'm sure Simon and everyone else as well, we're all, using 2 or more devices for the weeks leading up to BlackBerry 10. And, as soon as I got back, as soon as I got my Z10 in New York, I put my AT&T SIM card in it, and, that was the end of it. And my iPhone and Android phones and my 9900 are all on my desk, and I haven't touched them since. So I think it says a lot. And I think Blaze is probably the biggest case for that, because he's a big mobile hound. So for him
you
to be able to use one,
I would have said whore.
I was going to say whore, but I was trying to keep it somewhat classy. But thanks for taking it to that level. So yeah, it's been going good, I think, overall. So how are you still going strong, Blaze? Or are you tempted by other platforms?
No, I haven't touched another device at all. I have the Galaxy Note here, iPhone 5, Lumia 920, and I've not felt the desire to touch any of them because there hasn't been anything that came up that made me want to actually go ahead and use those.
I think it's pretty crazy. I was talking. One of the annoying things I found with BlackBerry Messenger Video in particular, I was out shopping for baby gates the other day, and my phone started ringing. And Kevin's on the other end on video. He's like, "Hey," so it's always reachable, which I just found was amusing. He's like, "Hey, how's it going?" He's asking me questions about a post or something. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just in the middle of Babies R Us right now, buying a baby gate, no big deal." But On the
That's the thing
alternative
with
side,
Kevin, though, he doesn't consider like where the other person is. He'll just video call you, and
but now
that's
it's fun because I can
you
actually
could be in the
show
middle
him,
of Target buying
right.
whatever
Now I can
hemorrhoid
prove it,
cream
be
or
like, "Here, I'm
something,
in
and
the
Kevin's
baby
like, "Hey, what's up?"
What's up?
But it was good and bad at the same time because it's awesome how we can just, and the quality and everything was amazing, but just the fact that, like we're on video with each other. I'm standing in the middle of a baby store on a Saturday or Sunday, whatever it was, just having a conversation with him, and like we're up and done with it. And then at the same time, he asked me for a link or something the other day on BBM, and I was just amazed, how I kind of jumped out of BBM, went into my web browser, copied it out of my bookmark, flew back over and pasted it in, and just put my phone back and called it a day. And it's, it's really starting to grow on me just
open up
how
your web browser and not be like scared of it taking 5 minutes to load.
Yeah, I mean, just everything, like how it has increased my work productivity. I mean, we were talking earlier about getting our whole back end for CB on some kind of app, so then we can basically just do everything from our phone. But I think it doesn't make me scared like some, on iOS where it's like, oh, you want me to get a link for you? Like, let me just email it later because I don't want to go look for it.
Yeah, I don't want to go through the trouble of actually trying to find it, copy and paste it, email it, send it, whatever.
So I think it's just, it's definitely helped. And I'm sure Kevin can attest to the fact, because he obviously works harder than the rest of us and has more projects and everything. But as far as getting things done and, the battery life and everything, I'm sure you're pretty impressed for the most part, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing that I was worried about and I'm happily impressed with and surprised with is just how fast it is to use and that there's no hesitation point in using it. So, I mean, let's say long emails, right? I mean, this is something I hear from a lot of users on iPhone or Android. If you get an email that you need to reply to on your phone and it's like, it's going to turn into several paragraphs, you just don't do it. You just ignore it till you get back to the office and can use a computer. But BlackBerry users who are used to physical keyboards, there's never a hesitation, right? It's like short email, long email, you pick it up and you just pound it out. And I was kind of worried with the Z10 being full touch and everything that I was going to fall into that camp of, you know what, I can wait till I'm back in the office, which is a little un-BlackBerry-like, but I thought it might happen. And absolutely not the case. It is still a BlackBerry when it comes to that sort of experience. I mean, even yesterday when we were driving out to Waterloo, I mean, I had that Z10 in my hand for like an hour nonstop, and I was writing novels in emails. I was in the forums, leaving literally 4, 5, 6 paragraph replies without even thinking and going fast. It's not like I was sitting there struggling. I mean, I'm just freaking typing away like I would on the Q10 or on the Bold 9900. So I'm really happy with that. Battery life, we've talked about it quite a bit. I think that's the one area of the Z10 where you can't use the word great. I mean, some days it's okay. Some days it's pretty good. Other days it's not very good. And I think the thing we're seeing there is, and it's similar to the Bold 9900 situation where, if you're around your house, you're connected to Wi-Fi, you're kind of using it in that environment, it's pretty good. Like, it'll go a ways. But as soon as you get into the car and you start traveling away a lot more, and I think you're switching from cell tower to cell tower and you're using LTE and not Wi-Fi's. Oh, I don't have Wi-Fi? A Q10 yet, anybody. Yeah, you got the Wi-Fi's. Everybody in the chat room saying I have a Q10. What did I say? Did I say something wrong?
Apparently you said something about having a Q10.
I don't have a Q10. I just assumed typing on the Q10 is awesome as like the 9900. And I have typed on the Q10 quite a bit at all these shows. I do not have a Q10 yet, everybody. Just calm down. Deep breath.
Pull it back.
Pull it back. That would just be wrong. I mean, there's so many people in America who don't even have a Z10 yet. If I had a Q10, I would feel guilty. I'd give it back. Okay, carry on. No, so battery life, definitely one of those areas. I mean, Adam, you wrote a great article on 10 tips to maximize your battery life.
I did.
I think Z10 owners want to be aware of them. And the other thing too is when you hit LTE versus being on 3G and stuff, batteries are going to go quicker. I mean, Blaze has been very vocal about saying, yeah, it's the battery life on LTE is kind of on par with some of the other devices out there because most LTE devices are going to suck back the juice.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
The thing too, it varies so much by users.
To the iPhone 5 and watch the percentage drop if I'm using LTE. Like streaming audio or something like that, it will drop percentile by a percentile. Like you can literally watch it. So, I mean, it's one of those things where I've always been consciously aware of knowing that LTE is going to do that. So you can either have the option of going ahead and turning LTE off, or use the Z10 with, like, because it's a device that has a replaceable battery, just make sure that you have a spare battery around. But overall, it's not absolutely horrendous. Like, it's not a deal breaker, you know. I'm not going to buy this phone because the battery doesn't last however long, right?
I think it's still a big use case too, you know, because we've always said it, you know, like Blaze uses his phones, I'm sure, way more than I do, and I, you know, because I rarely leave the house during the week, so I sit here on Wi-Fi all day, you know, and then dinner time rolls around and I still have 70% battery, so I'm like, oh, the battery's fantastic, but you know, at the same time, when I'm out like on the weekends and things like that, I have no hesitation to have a spare battery or to charge it. You know, even if it's over 50%, like tonight, you know, I have dinner plans later, but I'm going to plug my phone in before I go out, because I think you have a better sense of security knowing it's as charged as it can be before you head out. You know, so all the arguments with batteries just kind of get to me at times, because it's you know, it depends on your use case. But if you have the mini, what is that called? The
store plug time, right? So this podcast sponsored by shopcrackberry.com, where you can pick up the BlackBerry Z10 charger bundle for your Z10, which is freaking awesome. So, you know, it's funny. I guess BlackBerry probably knew that, you know, maybe the battery life wasn't going to be as amazing as they wanted it to be. So they created the Band-Aid Fix, which is the best OEM charging accessory ever. So basically, this is the bundle. It's not that expensive, because if you buy just the spare battery, it retails for $35. So you can buy the bundle for $50. You can get it for less at Shop Crackberry, of course. But basically, the battery goes into the little charger. And what's beautiful is you plug one end here into like your car charger, your wall charger, which charges the spare battery. But then at the same time, you can plug this into your actual phone, so you can charge both the phone and the spare battery at the same time. And then afterwards, you know, when you leave the house, take both with you, and you can either, if you have time to actually do a battery pull, swap batteries, you can put in a fresh battery. Or what I love is you can just use this as a charger. So you can actually plug it in, you know, hit the little power button on this guy, and probably in about 30 minutes, it'll just take all the juice from the one battery and stick it into the other battery. So it's basically like a little mini portable charger and a spare battery, whatever you want. Super good. Say that again, Adam.
I was just going to say, I mean, I think that guy's awesome, because it built on the old one. I had one for my 9900 where it was just the mini external charger, but it came with kind of a Y cable where you could plug it in, you know, to your charger at night, and you could charge the battery in the external charger as well as your device. And I, you know, at conferences and everything, I had like 4 batteries, but I always carried that spare charger because I have a power bag, so I could just plug the charger in there and keep the batteries, you know. And people would be like, "Oh, my battery's dying," so I'd be like, "Here, take this one. Here, take this one." You know, so it's just great to see, because it's, you know, it's come such a long way. I think the first one I had, the battery charger, was for like my tour back in the day, but it's still one of my all-time favorite accessories. And like I said, I have no hesitation to have an external battery, and to be able to have it, you know, in that kind of package with the plug and everything, where you can just slip it in your pocket or your bag when you leave, and, you know, never have to worry about it. I think it's just awesome.
Agreed. Oh, great accessory. Okay. Actually, talking of accessories, though, all of the OEM accessories and cases for the Z10 kick ass. I think compared to any other device launch we've seen, BlackBerry has done a really, really good job with the design of all the cases, like the new transform case, the flip shell case, the microfiber holsters. Everything just looks good, well built. Everything is awesome. In the chat room, people are asking about the media dock coming out. I don't know. I literally sent an email 2 hours ago asking the same thing, because, you know, I've seen them, and I think they should go on sale as soon as possible, because I think every Z10 owner will want one. But I'm not quite sure what's up with that yet.
I got a crappy case on Amazon the other day just to see if it actually fit.
And
I put it on, and then I took it off. So
yeah, no, I would really
definitely get the OEM stuff, because it's like, I thought it was going to be cool, like kind of like a bumper, because obviously, you know, it always looks way better in the pictures. And I thought this was like rubber, this orange stuff, but it's basically just all like one big piece of plastic, and it made my phone feel funny. And then it's all slippery on the back, so I totally like lost my grip in the process. So OEM stuff's the way to go.
You can't go wrong with the OEM stuff at all. I think a lot of the built for BlackBerry program stuff will be pretty good too. Like, we have some casemate cases, the Barely Theirs. Simon, you've got that new wood grain one. I think they're all pretty
somewhere.
decent, but the OEM stuff better than ever for BlackBerry. So can't go wrong on that.
And there'll be more to come, I'm sure, not just what we've seen.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, so one thing, I don't know where we are on the old outline, but
We're off the outline. We're just going.
okay. So the thing I want to talk about now is positive indicators where, even on the accessory side, what I was going to say is we can't keep the stuff in stock right now in Canada, obviously, because that's where we're launched in market. And when I look through, like, bottom line, BlackBerry is back, right? It's not that they've won the race, but they're like crossed the starting line sprinting with the launch of the Z10. And every indicator I track that I've tracked since 2006, 2007 on the BlackBerry front, every time a device comes out, etc., is like off the charts right now. So whether it's things like store sales, whether it's things like traffic to the site, engagement on the site, whether it's things like even when I start to look at things like Google Trends on the demand for the devices, everything. BlackBerry 10 is really off to a great start, and it's barely in any people's hands yet. Even things like, heck, we went to Burger King in Toronto here. We went to Chipotle. Everywhere we go, it's like the guy at the till taking our money. He's like, hey, is that the new BlackBerry? We're sitting down, and there's people beside us. Hey, is that the new BlackBerry? BlackBerry has done a great job here of getting the message out very quickly, and people are recognizing it very quickly as well. So a lot of buzz. We're seeing in the forums a lot of happy people. We're seeing a few people too who are nitpicking a little bit, and for rightfully so. Like, it's not a perfect device right now. The hardware is really good all around. Software, we have a list. That we've been through through the whole review process. Even we're making our list of little like bugs and things we're coming across, and we've been submitting those to RIM because they're on top of it. But there's no deal breakers on BB10, right? Everything is really good. I think there's things the average consumer would never notice that we notice from our years of kind of use and the way we stick everything under a magnifying glass. But overall, people are really liking the device. And the thing is, it's not, there's the tech reviewer community, and the tech reviews were pretty decent. There were some mixed reviews in between. And I think a lot of the tech reviewers are like, oh, I don't know, I'd like this better or this better. But what I just laugh at is like, the tech review community, for the most part, has never understood BlackBerry and why it's been so popular over the years. Because even when they were the number one smartphone, I would go to the press room at these events and be one of 3 people who really liked BlackBerry out of a room of 100 people. And it's probably I'm sure it's changed a little, but it's maybe a little bit the same. But the thing is, it's tech reviewers, when they approach devices, they want to assign a score. They want to say this is better than this and this is better than that because they have to, right? That's their job, is to purely review. And on that front, where BlackBerry doesn't get always fairly treated is it's not just about specs. It's really about the experience. And BlackBerry is totally a user experience. If it wins or loses on specific specs doesn't mean hill of beans difference, right? Processor or memory or this. I mean, what matters is how it is in your hand. The Z10 is really good hardware all the way. And the thing I'm seeing is people are buying into the experience, right? It's that whole addictive OS thing. It's it's not like Android where you have open million ways to customize it. There's some ways to customize it within the framework they want you to use. There are some things as you start to learn the experience where you start to say like, well, why did they do it this way? Why didn't they do it this way? And there's a lot of that online, and I mean, even we wrote a lot of that stuff. But the longer I've used the Z10 and just kind of like said, okay, I get that maybe if I built the OS, I would have done this, and this different. But you just kind of get over yourself and you say, okay, I'm just going to use it. All of a sudden it becomes just, you quit thinking, you just start using it, and that's this very addictive user experience. And I'm seeing it all the time, right? Like, we're going out, yesterday we're in Waterloo, and I'm watching how people are using devices on the Z10s, and it's that same BlackBerry addicted experience where, even there's nothing going on, people are picking up the phone just to play with the frickin' thing. And I don't know, as people get used to it, it gets better and better. So BlackBerry is back from every way I can tell. And I'm just really excited to see it hit the States because I think it's going to continue to explode. And the other thing we're seeing is the freaking demand. So, by starting it off not in every market, which sucks for the people who have to wait, you're just seeing the mentality of people. And it's like Americans are trying to buy them off Rogers and buying them at overpriced prices to get them back on AT&T and that. in places like London, you have sheiks from Dubai coming in and buying out stores to take back home. There's all these crazy stories we're hearing, and it's all really positive. Because if you think about what could have happened, January 30th could have come and nobody could have cared, right? And instead, we have people just bitching, I can't buy the phone yet, da-da-da-da-da-da. All you have is this like groundswell of demand and support for BB10. And if that doesn't mean BlackBerry's back, I don't know what does. They're not going to be number one overnight, but they are back in the game. And you look at the headlines. For 18 months there, 2 years, you see nothing but negativity. And those headlines are gone. Now you see nitpicking, like, oh, did they do enough? Is this good enough? Are the apps here yet? Blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, every indicator I track, and that's a lot of things, BlackBerry is absolutely back in the game. I think the big thing now is getting the product out fast enough. And honestly, what I believe happened is a lot of these carriers, US included, after 18 months, 2 years of BlackBerry bashing, yes, the new platform's coming, people are seeing it off, but nobody wants to take a huge, huge risk, right? They don't want to be the first to commit, buy a massive order from RIM or BlackBerry and then be like, uh-oh, it didn't sell enough. And I think this is what happened. So, in the chat room, Eddie Ruse is saying, why is Verizon keeping us all waiting? I think there's probably a lot of people at carriers who are like getting like beat up for not taking the bigger risk right now, because I think in the US, basically, they probably wanted to take a wait and see approach. That was the market where BlackBerry, the brand has been the most beat up on. The sentiment and mind share of the users is the most like lower down, that BlackBerry's out of the game. And I mean, if I were a carrier too, I don't know if I would do any different. I'd probably say, okay, BlackBerry, launch this thing. We'll see how good it is, and we'll order from there. But we're not necessarily going to give you hero support day one. But I think if you're a carrier in the States, you're probably seeing, oh, this is looking pretty good.
Oh, shit. Maybe
yeah, we should have. And it really sucks because it hurts the consumers. But the thing is, it's going to come. The people are going to buy. Now I'll start to see things on tech sites saying like, oh, but next month now the S4 is coming. Oh, next month the HTC One is coming. And you know what? Doesn't freaking matter, because BlackBerry's an experience. It's not good. Anybody who's going to buy the Z10 or whatever is not going to be like, oh, this one's got a good camera, so I'm going to grab that. No, they're not going to be swayed by a better camera or something. It's totally a different game when it comes to BlackBerry, which a lot of people like me get, and a lot of people just don't get. They still bring it back to this like, this phone's better than this phone is better than this phone thing, and it does not freaking matter when it comes to BlackBerry. It's a strong brand. People get what BlackBerry is all about, and Renee in the chat room is saying BlackBerry is bought like people buy an iPhone, right? It's a different thing. People get what it's positioned for. So yeah, I wanted it in the States on the February 5th, like Canada got it. It completely sucks right now that it's not there, but I think right now, basically everybody's expectations have probably been exceeded for how good the launch has been. So BlackBerry is back. I'm going to shut up and somebody talk about how much they love the BlackBerry. That's not me.
I love BlackBerry.
Because it was Valentine's Day yesterday, we are calling this episode BlackBerry Love.
BlackBerry Love. I don't know. I mean, I think we touched on most of it before, but like, oh, thanks for loving me. I'm just kind of, super pumped to have my BlackBerry back. You know what I mean? Like, because there were, however many years where I just went straight up BlackBerry and then, kind of defected along with everyone else to using different platforms. And I was just waiting for BlackBerry 10 to come out so I could be back together with my passion. So just having it, it's just, it's like we said before, it's just awesome because it's everything's there that I need. Because I don't use crazy apps. I don't really use Instagram or Netflix or anything like that. So those aren't big on my list, but just, the core functionality of the email and BBM.
But if you're in the Toronto office, you could use those apps.
Well, I'm not saying that I don't have them on my device, that I can't use them right now. I'm just saying that I don't use them. So anyway, so just having everything back and being able to stick with one device and, know it's a BlackBerry and that I love it and that I can actually do things on it, like we said before, where, I'm out at the store and I get an email and I'm not afraid to reply to it on my virtual keyboard because it's going to waste time. It's my BlackBerry keyboard and I can crank out my email, or if I need to make a video call to Kevin to tell him I don't want him to fire me or something like that, then, that opportunity's there.
I have one request. I'm gonna give everybody listening live here a heads up, but don't do a forum post or anything until we blog it. So my feature request is that users should be able to disable screen capture during video chats. Because, the other morning at I had a late night, Marcus had a late night coding. Then we woke up pretty early at 8 a.m. still, or 7. Well, that's late, but we woke up late, but we were in bed still. So I video chatted him, and then he answered the phone shirtless in bed, but just from the neck up. And then I answered the phone shirtless in bed, just from the neck up. And here, I'm going to look for the photo right now. And it's just a really kind of creepy photo. His wife was beside him in bed, but really, somebody should be able to set the option not to.
Kind of reminds me of when the Playbook video chat came out.
Same thing happened to me and you.
A little issue in the hotel, if I recall.
Yeah, it's really
totally unrehearsed and extremely awkward.
No, yeah, I'm not going to show this one either. It's really bad. But anyways, I think that would be a good feature to say, hey, if I'm on a video chat, you're not allowed to, screen cap me, sticking my finger in my ear and stuff like that. I don't know. It makes sense.
It's a little trippy.
And the chat room goes on fire with awkward TMI.
Awkward.
I agree.
It is. It's like built-in BlackBerry Snapchat. It's terrible.
So other things that are awesome. So one thing, obviously, if you're listening to this show, you probably haven't heard a show like this since 2007 because I think you can't really fake enthusiasm. We're all freaking excited. Two, what else is awesome? Oh, apps. So one thing right now that I think you're going to see over the next few weeks, a lot of these bigger name apps start to become available that were kind of committed and announced at the 30th event, but we haven't seen yet. I think that's one thing that everybody's kind of watching now and saying, well, geez, we're getting punished for buying it early. But, if you think about it, yes, BlackBerry 10 is launched, but for a lot of these big name apps that are actually based in the US, I think the launch date they have in their head is US availability. So I think that's where you're going to see a lot of them ramp up for, right? Around that date, whenever that is, so probably a month from now. But
you have the luxury of owning the device now if you don't live in America, but you don't have the luxury of having all of the available apps. There's only a few apps that are available, but there should be more coming when the March release date in the US actually comes out.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's something we'll watch that app story evolve. I think what BlackBerry announced was really impressive. I mean, if you think about it, on January 30th they sold all of 0 devices, and they had 70,000 in store committed, etc. That's pretty huge. I think it's bigger for sure than any new platform launch ever, and that's what's the word I'm looking for? A testament to the efforts of Alex Saunders on the independent developer front and Marty Malik on the chasing down the big name apps front. So we got to see it get delivered. We want to see quality app experiences too. I think that's apparently my microphone looks like a fancy dildo according to the chat room. I don't know why I repeated that on the air, but it really distracted me. And now I just became conscious.
Oh,
and also, if you have a dark side of humor, please visit the forums and go to the new Dark Side forum thread. It's really funny, actually. This podcast is over.
I think we did good because we're actually in a good spot to wind down now and keep it under an hour.
Phoenix just said, what about
there are a lot
bedside?
of really
Kevin,
big name games that were available right out of the gate, and some publishers there's one called 11 Bits. They've been pumping out a lot of really good ones, like the Anomaly games. Anomaly Korea just came out today. There's also Edge Extended. For some people, stuff like Instagram is going to be a deal breaker, but for me, it's games, and the fact that all the important ones are there is solid.
That's the thing, though, Simon. You like games, and you're absolutely right. There's a ton of games in there, but I don't play games.
I do. I play games now because I have a phone that can play games. I've been gaming fiend. I hooked it up to my TV, and I've been nonstop with games. And it's sad because I used to be more concerned of apps that could kind of help me and do better things on my device. But now, every time I jump into App World or BlackBerry World, I just go straight to the games and see what new fun games are there. It's pretty crazy, but it's a totally different experience. And being able to throw my HDMI cable in there and have it show up on my TV is pretty awesome.
There's
And there's still a lot more coming, right? Like EA and Gameloft still haven't really released much of anything. I think Gameloft has the Shark one, Shark Dash.
Shark Dash.
But
they had one other one
like
too.
Modern Combat 4 is huge, and I could see that one being great for the American launch.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of stuff like I would love to see, and it's like we said, like everybody wants what they want. It's the same thing with the Instagram, Skype, Netflix. Some people want them, can't live without them. I think the same thing goes for games. It's like, if there's no Angry Birds or there's no, EA games and stuff like that, people are going to be like, oh, I don't want the device. But it's not a universal thing. It's case by case, because I could care less if I have Skype, Netflix, and Instagram on my device, or, if I have Angry Birds games, and there's certain games I want, certain games I don't care about. And, that's all there is to it. So, but the more the merrier. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm reading through the chat room here. And
cool story, bro.
What?
I said cool story, bro. How about that meteorite? How about that?
What?
You want to talk about the meteorite that hit in Russia? You guys didn't watch the news today, huh?
No, the what?
There was a meteor that landed in Russia this morning that was like 10 tons and killed like 1,000 people. Maybe you should turn the TV on and watch the news.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious, yeah. There's like crazy videos because everybody in Russia has dash cams because there's like crazy police corruption. So they all caught it on video, and there was like a big bright flash, and they had all kinds of security cameras from buildings that showed stuff like blowing in, and it was like 10 tons it weighed, and so upwards of like 900 or 1,000 people that died, I think.
What? Okay, that's horrible. I never. No, sorry, I didn't.
Way to stay up with the current events, buddy.
You're supposed to call me if there's anything that's going on in the world that I should know about, because I don't get out of the BlackBerry bubble too often.
Sorry.
Well, to make you feel better, Kevin, even I didn't know that one. So.
Wait, somebody just said 0 died. Hurt, not dead. Injured. What?
Oh, not dead,
injured?
sorry. That's what I meant. Did I say died? Just kind of killed that story, huh?
No, well, what? So what's the...
1,000 people injured. I didn't mean dead.
But nobody died.
Right.
Well, okay, this is a big...
That's why I don't report the news and I just write about tech. Sorry. Okay. Not a journalist. Definitely not a journalist.
What? Baby found in the middle of the meteorite crash site is... Oh, Michelle's saying it's Superman was born.
Kevin.
Okay, everybody in the chat room, quit talking so we can finish this podcast.
Let's wrap it up.
So you know what? I just realized our podcast skills have gone to hell now because we were doing all those live CrackBerry Cam Big Brother podcasts. And those are really fun. I actually think those are more fun than podcasting, because then it's just about talking to the chat room. And it's like, hey, Rex the Next. Hey, Jubilo. Hey, BB10 is here.
After the gold show.
Send your PayPals to kevin@crackberry.com. When we hit $200, we'll talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about publicly. No, it's kind of funny.
I kind of agree, but I don't know that we were ever all that good at podcasts in the first place.
We weren't. No, anybody who... I mean, Renee Ritchie, who's listening, he would tell us we're pretty good because we have so much energy and we're dynamic and engaging. But I think he's just saying...
he's just trying to be nice.
He's trying to be nice to us. We know
because Renee is much better on camera and podcast things than we are.
He's more professional. Then there's like Mickey Papillon, where at CES I was a little worried we were going to give him a coronary because he's just like... so like on cue, right? And then I'm there trying, like, it's my mission is to knock him off being 100% in control of his actions.
But you can't. You can't do it.
You can't do it. I mean, a couple times I could see. Mickey almost killed Phil a couple of times, but I don't know. It's pretty fun. Okay, other things to talk about today. I mean, literally, look, we're going to try to do these more often. I'm going to stay weekly. The odds are we aren't going to make it, but we're going to really try. Like, more than ever. I really promise. Next week, though, is CrackBerry relaunch week. So I think what we'll do is once CrackBerry relaunch is done, then we'll have a podcast. So that may be seven days and maybe more like 10 days. But, you know, we're going to try harder because we're excited. What's really funny, too, is that, you know, normally for 2 years, it was all about, like, what's leaking? What are the rumors? Right now, I don't really give a crap about rumors or leaking. We just have new awesome phones, and it's really focused on us, like, getting the most out of our ownership experience, which is... I think even more wickeder, better. And
Carburetor.
I think this is probably good enough for today.
We should wrap it up before it takes a bigger downhill turn than it already has.
I don't think I can go worse. Does anybody
honestly,
want
I
to
don't-
say anything? Simon Sage, I've kept talking. Your turn. Tell us something.
No, I've said my piece about games. That's pretty much all I was really interested in with the Z10, and it's been performing really well so far. So I haven't played around too much with the Score Loop app there, the games thing that does like social gaming stuff that much yet, but it's looking good. I haven't seen a lot in terms of multiplayer there, but I think there's room for it. So
I did actually. I meant to mention it to Simon. There's a game called Pool Break Pro that is an Android port, I guess, but it looks like it's multiplayer, and it actually, like, I was in the middle of a game by myself, and it alerts you when there's other people online.
oh, cool.
Sweet.
And you
Pool
can,
break? Pool break?
yeah, Pool Break
Log
Pro.
it.
But it's got like any kind of, it's got 8-ball, 9-ball, 10-ball, 3-ball, snooker, and you can choose to play like against the, like the computer or whatever. You can do like a network player. So I guess whoever's on like the network in the game at the same time, or like Facebook. But I was in the middle of a game playing 9-ball, and a little toast alert popped up that said, other network players online. So it was pretty cool. So I think that's multiplayer, but definitely if you fire it up, let me know.
Cool.
Word.
Getting it now.
Blaze, anything you want to rock the mic on? Please talk directly into the microphone because that's what's required.
I don't really have much else to say.
You're not talking into the microphone. You got to lean into it.
I really don't have much else to say because I don't like fighting with the microphone. Go buy a BlackBerry Z10.
Amen.
That was quality. Truer words have never been spoken.
Let's wrap it. We're dying.
And the legend, and the ancient legend. I just want to talk about the BlackBerry 10 contest for a minute here. Okay, so back when we did the What Would You Do for a BlackBerry Storm contest, I really believed never in the history of the smartphone world would we ever get a contest better than that. And I'm really thinking the Z10 contest or Z10 contest has passed it. Because some of the entries this time around are just freaking ridiculous. Adam, why are you sleeping? You love talking about 1,000 paper cranes.
I like talking about it. I don't like listening to you talk. So
Well, I'm giving you the opportunity to like pick up here, and you're just not doing it.
Yeah, well, we've had a pretty awesome "What would you do for a BlackBerry 10 phone" contest, because it was an interesting experience. Because, well, not experience, but I was looking at the old videos from the Storm contest, which was, what was that, 2008?
Yeah, a long time
I think.
ago.
So when we were doing kind of the promo video, I was giving to Kevin, where I pulled in a bunch of those videos, and it was just funny because they were all, these little square videos in such crappy resolution, and they were so outdated, and it made me feel like how long ago it was. But I watched a lot of them over again, and it was pretty intense and we actually still have a whole list of all the submissions from the contest. So I was kind of looking it over to see, all the crazy things people submitted, and it was the same time this time around. Where here we are, however many 5 years later, 4 years later, whatever it is, can't do math. And people were still just as passionate, and they're coming in with these crazy ideas, a lot of which we've seen already, but it was just pretty insane. And just the things, the paper cranes in particular, like that guy Hong's sat in his apartment for 3 days straight, making these little paper cranes, and then he sent them to us in Toronto. And, when we opened the box and we're like, holy crap, like this guy was serious. Like we didn't really think anything about it until then. And
the tattoo,
the
I would
tattoo.
never get
We saw that guy in New York, so we know that was legit because he was there, and he pulled his shirt off in front of Torsten Hines, who took a picture with them, and the guy that wrapped his car with the vinyl decals, and like driving around.
Decals? They're called decals, Adam. They're not decals.
I almost want to like email him and be like, send me some vinyl, and I'll put a big CB logo on the side of my Mazda, So it's just it's pretty crazy, just the passion everybody has. So
I forwarded that entry to Dan Dodge since
Did
it was,
you?
In honor.
Do you think
of
Dan Dodge actually drives a Dodge?
I don't know. He probably
drives
drives
a
the
Bentley.
QNX Bentley, I would think.
Probably.
I mean, no, the entries were so good. And I don't know. I've been really just love you guys so much. It's very emotional. I don't know if it's Valentine's Day or what, but it's cool. All right, now we can end the show unless there's something we forgot to talk about. A lot of contests going on. A lot of contests for phones still happening. I think you can go. There's a free phone contest on the blogs, one in the forums. We're keeping in track. Michelle, who's in the chat room, Michelle will take care of following up and lining up, getting people their prizes. Honestly, I think in the last 2 years, we've given away like 23, IOUs for BB10 phones. So, we've had a couple deliver where we could. For those in the U.S. market, it'll probably be closer to U.S. availability and launch. But we're trying to get a lot of stuff happening. Hey, Kevin, when's the European CrackBerry store being launched? So we do ship to Europe, and there are cheaper international shipping options. You still need to it ships from the U.S. though, so you got to be like aware of, you could get dinged for customs or duties and some of that stuff. We have been working, back at CES actually, just to be totally upfront, right? We actually did have some meetings with some guys in Europe who we think we could, partner with to help bring our stores there. So we are trying to follow up on that. The demand seems to be there. Europeans love mobile nations, so stay tuned. Hopefully we will take care of that sooner than later this year. But there's just so much on the roadmap to take care of, and we're not, we're a self-funded group of individuals. We don't go after the VC dollars and that stuff. We keep it legit and real, and there's only so much we can do at once. So we're trying our best always, every single day. But yeah, we're doing it. It's good stuff. Doing it. Woo!
Renee wants you to plug Fitness Month.
Yeah, Mobile Nations Fitness Month is in high gear. Across all the sites, you can see some amazing content related to mobile accessories and fitness and health. And this year we did it differently, where it's not just about working out all month long. It's like week 1 was fitness, then we move on to nutrition, and then general wellness and everything else. I'm probably messing it up, Renee, so feel free to jump in at any time.
Next week is sleep.
Sleep is next week, and
that's my favorite one.
Few people know that our editor-in-chief of Windows Phone Central, Daniel Rubino, he doesn't know a lot about a lot of things. He's not a very knowledgeable guy in general. However, when it comes to Windows phones and sleeping, he knows everything because his former job was like a sleep technician at Cornell University.
Did he work with Blaze at one point?
Why?
You have to wake him up.
Because Blaze knows a lot about sleep too.
No, well, can I just say something though? So everybody has... No, everybody thinks Blaze is the end-all and be-all of being, like, not needing sleep. But having lived with them for a month, I go off less sleep. Because the thing is, Blaze gets up at noon, and then he stays up to 3 or 4 a.m. Kevin gets up at 7 to 8 a.m. and goes to bed at 3:30, 4 a.m. So I'm, like, going on way less fumes all month.
Blaze is a lot more personable when he gets up in the morning or the afternoon.
That's true. No, that's true.
Sure.
Now, do you know how we wake Chris up in the morning, though? This is his alarm clock. So he's sleeping downstairs at the Toronto condo. And then this is what I do, and it's awesome. I'm just going to get it going here. This is like Blaze. I needed to get out of bed.
Hey, Macklemore, can we go thrift shopping?
What? So it's like our theme song for the whole...
This is totally our theme song.
What? Totally woke me up.
See, look at him go. I think we're just going to listen.
That can be our out.
Yeah, let's wind it down.
I'm going on some tags, only got $20 in my pocket.
This is fucking awesome. I got a big cock.
Ken, bye.
Okay, we're gonna Renee Ritchie, we're gonna have to put like a not PG rating on this one because I don't know what happened there. It's just a little too excitement going on for
Thanks for listening.
It was 99 cents.
I hope Adam's baby didn't hear that.
No, she's still passed out.
Woo! All right, let's take us out. You can find us on our sites and on Twitter. And,
MobileNations.com/shows.
baby. It's #1 for BlackBerry worldwide. Don't you ever forget it. BlackBerry's back!
Good, you gotta do the mic drop. Just push it away.
I can take 4 weeks, make them cool.